Yeah, so guys, my name is Tami Poe. I'm also one of the directors at Timung. And debating means a hell of a lot to me personally. I can go on and on about what it did to shape the kind of person that I am today. The most important thing for us at Timung really is to scale the experience that we had as directors as a result of debating. Right, debating, what it did do for me, it gave me the ability to think critically, to speak confidently in public, to mobilize people, to persuade large groups of individuals to follow a particular cause and all that kind of stuff. And it's such a strong and powerful learning tool that so few people have the privilege to have access to. It's unfair, it's crazy.
We're going to create a web, and then we're going to uncreate the web, and the aim is to show us in the space that there are lots of things that we have in common with people that we don't actually know. We're going to ask you to essentially tell us a specific thing. We'll tell you what it is. So in the first round, it's going to be a statement. So the point is, if you resonate with what she has done, you literally have to go from where you are standing to the person you are fetching the string from and pull it from there.
So the first question is, the first statement is, I have
achieved the 3rd position in the South African Institution of Chartered Accountants.
I have received a Best Award for being the best vocalist in house music.
I am at my happiest.
I'm at my happiest when I am at home.
I could get the whole world to believe in something. What would that be?
Listen to understand, not to reply.
One of the initiatives that we took at this tournament was breaking all the participants up with different roommates, right? We made them write a short essay telling us about their personality, what their interests are, and what they would like to fight for in society. And what we did is that we matched roommates from different provinces based on those personality tests.
Well, first of all, that experience was amazing because I just love my roommate.
I don't know how these people did the things, like in terms of room allocation, but like I think they read minds, right?
Oh, my roommate is like Naledi, and she's from Cape Town. So she's Xhosa, I'm Zulu, but I've lived in the Eastern Cape for 8 years. So like, we have so much in common.
In room 16 is Hayden Anderson, sharing with Siyabonga Mchai. In room 17 is Senzo Mukwena, sharing with Mpho Okuwa.
About this now, man. Here's my question to you. I'm putting it, and I know I just gave you loaded information. What would you have prioritized? End of violence, peace, or would you have prioritized absolute justice?
Peace over justice, because even though it was apartheid, I prioritized the lives of everyone.
It's easy to be in a situation of saying that yes, absolute justice is right and it is deserved. But to immediately implement it means you are sacrificing the lives.
He got us freedom, but it's like we didn't get justice from that freedom. And that within itself for me is a contradiction, because it's like, would we have preferred to continue fighting and then hope for an outcome?
So the excitement of sitting in that room, having people constantly debate about Nelson Mandela and his legacy, was just so fulfilling.
Because when you're in a room with 50 people that feel the same as you do, it liberates your mind, because generally in society you have to tame yourself because you have to try and adapt with the crowd that you're in, because you don't want to encroach and make another person feel uncomfortable. When you're in a situation, an environment where people think similarly to you, and then they're encouraging you to voice your opinions and to actually engage with them, it becomes a breeding ground for like higher thought and a higher understanding, and it perpetuates all of this, and it's just a great experience all in all.
It's incredibly important to design a training program that acknowledges the sort of youth that you're working with. Some people have done debating for a very long time, and some people have never done debating before. So if you're going to design an educational training program, especially in the sport of debating, you would need to cater to both of those people to ensure that both of them have a positive experience at the tournament, so that all 50 of the youth who are participating in this program are able to leave with some sort of an everlasting impact that can help them become change makers in their communities.
I feel like prior to me joining this competition, Nelson Mandela was always like one-faceted to me. Like, he was the first black president of South Africa. He was an activist. He liberated people. Like, we got this one extent of his story. Like, what's really amazing to me is that we never really get much of his background, but then that was explained and clarified to me that prior to him being in high school, prior to him joining specific political aspects, he wasn't really known. So I guess in this instance, Nelson Mandela to me is a multifaceted person who exists like any human being within society, except that he did something significant, and that it tells me that we all have the ability to do something significant. Because I mean, he was Roritlata, the troublemaker in high school. He became Nelson Mandela, the lawyer, the son of the chief. He got kicked out of the law school. I mean, he was so many things, but all in all, he was a great person.
That are not abiding by the laws of the constitution, ladies and gentlemen. Let us look at the laws that we had during apartheid. During the apartheid, ladies and gentlemen, they were actually forced to kill those people because when they arrested, what they did was actually justifiable and it was allowed by the law.
So the proposition tells us that it's not these people's fault because they were under instructions, right? We say that people are perfectly rational and able to make moral decisions. At the end of the day, they do nothing to address institutionalized racism. We tell you that because they provide an illusion of justice, we can only win today's debate.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, not only living in a world and in a society where we are really controlled by social media, but more than that, we're living in a world where we are no longer having core activism taking place. Traditional activism doesn't really make people understand the real idea.
We all glamorize and glorify this idea of spreading messages on social media. Yes, we concede that hashtag activism in the short term helps promote messages, but if people do not do anything except just spread these messages amongst the people that follow them, are you really enacting change?
Mandela was living here in Soweto, so it is my first time coming here, so I can say I thank the Mandela Foundation team and Simon for bringing me here in Soweto to actually have that a little bit of a spirit of going around Soweto where Mandela was staying. Yeah, I did not expect it to be like this. I thought it's very small, but no, it's so beautiful.
generation parties should not be allowed to hold majority in parliament so that they cannot run for president. Generally, we see that these parties can become violent, such as Umkhonto weSizwe.
We'd like Side Proposition to give us actual analysis of what instance that military wing has actually ensued any violence within society.
They have the incentive to run as a party, right, instead of as a government. And when they are in a government, they undermine their roles as an activist.
They disregard the actor that actually claimed this democracy.
This debate is about, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the considerations we make about those who own the land, but it is about the utility and the dignity of those that don't have it, right?
White people now feel like they are the people who do not belong here, and we believe that each and every person who lives in South Africa came from a different country or a different nation.
We wouldn't be having this debate about amending the constitution if it was fine in the first place. They believe in unity currently. That's why they created the constitution. So we believe that the land, if you want it, you should compensate it, members of the House. Because
it's an organization where many people call an orphanage, but we did not like the word orphanage. We decided to call it a home. Tammy called me that they were coming. I was excited, but my worry was we don't have enough space. So I had to ask Tammy if the space will be suitable and will be conducive enough for all of you. And he said, no, it's okay, Mama. We came, we saw the space, we're happy. And that got me excited because they're going to learn. One thing is stage fright. You know, another thing is communication. Another thing is not being afraid of making mistakes, you know, when speaking whatever language, because in there you can learn. And I think that's very powerful for them.
So two arguments that I have that I'm going to be giving you in today's debate. Firstly, I'm going to be proving to you how there's absolutely no value in philanthropy if it's only based on effective philanthropy as opposed to the genuine emotion and passion that goes into doing philanthropic work, right? But secondly, I'm going to be proving
we value our case because it is a case where utility and an empathetic nature can exist, but more importantly, it is a side that creates sustainability. Now, if you understand what today's debate is about, which is not about fixing the immediate problem.
If you, instead of just helping what you believe, help those in need, like the majority, you see, because by helping the majority can also help the minority.
Today I came to represent, in today's debate I came to represent the proposition. Opposition team, can they tell us how effectiveness helps a majority? Therefore, there is no analysis.
They fundamentally misunderstand what the Rainbow Nation ideology actually is. We say that this ideology is an ideology that tells people that we are all one human race.
The case is solely based on the misapplication of this narrative. It's based on white people thinking that they can use this as an excuse and simply misapplying this.
So we think that had the rainbow narrative addressed the issues that existed and then come to a place where we talk about races interacting and coexisting, then the rainbow narrative would have been successful.
We asked them how removing this ideology within society or having never implemented it would have achieved us actual racial reconciliation.
But unanimous decision. I'm very happy to announce that going through to the finals is the team from opposition, KZN.
Limpopo,
Capricorn.
Firstly, I want to start by welcoming the Nelson Mandela Foundation. They have been spearheading essentially the centenary celebrations, which are the celebrations that are marking Nelson Mandela's 100th year. There are a number of programs that they are focused on, ranging from the arts to sports to exhibitions to education in many different fields. And this is one such program, a program that they have handpicked themselves, cuddled, critiqued, supervised, been anxious about, been excited about, and finally have seen to its completion. So I think they deserve an even bigger hand than what you just did for me. So if they could also stand up so you could see them and give them a big hand. They're clapping for you. The reason why I think this program was picked, and remember we've gone through a very extensive process of chopping and changing it and rethinking its objectives until we got to a point where we were all happy and on the same page with it, was because it's more than a debating tournament. So many of you are absolute debating champions. You are South African trialists. You've seen it all. You've been to Saki since you were in grade 6. But you've never been to a tournament where you were expected to debate specifically for the outcomes of learning and specifically for the outcomes of growing as a leader. That was what was different about this tournament and what brought the magic into it. We thought to ourselves, we're not going to do a regular tournament or an open where we bring the most talented debaters and just test their ideas aimlessly. We are going to invest in 50 young leaders who have a proven capacity to change their schools and to change their communities. We're going to bring them to Joburg. We're going to put them in a life-changing and jam-packed and hectic program, I'm sure you'll agree, that'll have them waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 11 p.m. But when they debate, they're going to debate views that they've honestly had to interrogate, views that they honestly have to reconcile with their own lives, and views that I believe will be part of their lives beyond this tournament itself because of how meaningful and impactful the connections that we made were. Am I correct when I say that? Okay, I'm very happy.
The Nelson Mandela Debating Challenge was a lot. It was a lot. But it was such a beautiful experience. And from the time I had to take the video to me finding out that I'm in the semi-finals to now has just been the most amazing experience ever. I think everyone can agree that it's different from any other debating tournament I've ever been to in my life, because I've learned more about my own history in South Africa than I have in my 3 years of high school.
The veil of ignorance allows us to distinguish and classify what world we want to live in.
So, Mr. Speaker, today's debate is not whether or not public policies have proven themselves to be effective or are going to be effective if we were to implement them, right?
But we as the proposition tell you that the policies and alternatives that we propose in today's debate need more discussion in order to create greater relevancy, right?
Now, we think the only way a society can actually determine whether a policy is ineffective and is irrelevant is if they actually have implemented it before and tried it out.
This debate can never be based on why we need to have discussions or whether this is good or bad. It's solely based on whether it would be effective in alleviating poverty within that instance, which is why the motion started with in an effort to alleviate poverty in the first place.
We can't talk about sustainability if we don't even know if this is going to benefit us in the future. That's why we win today's debate, because one, we've proven to you that this benefits people and that people will have a say in the economy, decreasing poverty. We've proven to you that it is effective, and that's why we win today's debate.
Whatever the result is, whether you win or lose, the fact that the split was 4-3 and not 5-1 or unanimous means that there are people who think that the matter that you presented was incredibly valuable and incredibly meaningful and impactful. But over and above that, the other 4 didn't think that you were meaningless in today's debate, and they certainly didn't think that you were valueless. If anything, every one of those adjudicators walked out of the room feeling bad at the fact that we had to absolutely choose a winner for this competition, right? So, the winners on a 4-3 split, KZN!
And so the thing that drives my passion for debating, I think there's 2 things. I think the first thing is what debating actually gives you, and that's the ability to, analyze the word from an objective view and be able to simultaneously break it down, reconstruct, analytically intrigue everything. I think that's something to appreciate. There's a sort of friendship that evolves from debating, and I think those friendships are the ones that last the most. I think my best friends are those that debate. Even though we don't see each other, live in different provinces, we are still very much best friends. Yeah.
People didn't accept how I saw things, and so I felt like there should be a space that could be created where I could constructively voice my opinions and tell people about how I feel and what I think of the world, how I perceive things, and a way that I can self-actualize without any constraint. And so debating became that safe haven for me. I feel like there's still so much more to discover, and so debating allows me to reach that goal of wanting to acquire more knowledge from the world around me.
Debating was this very cryptic society. It wasn't really one of those big ostentatious things, and it was one of these little gems that I found. For me, there was just this, it was a safe haven for me to actually to go beyond just accepting information that's given to me. As I progressed throughout the years, these skills, they became so important and relevant in my everyday life and my dealing with other individuals that it really just improved this love that I have, not only for debating, but for all of the critical thinking that it's perpetuating in me.
I'm not that social of a person, and I'm not very talkative, which is quite contrast to the fact that I'm a debater and I need to talk. But I feel like when it comes to debating and speaking about debating, I'm more open and I'm more able to talk with people. And it's sad to say that I might not see them again or in a long time, but I'm really glad that I actually got to meet these people, because debaters, they're very, very interesting people. And some of them have these opinions that are very controversial, but at the same time, they can really make conversation interesting. And that is what I like about interacting with them.
It can really change people's thoughts, change people's actions, and just the way they think and do things. And I think it can really build South Africa, because it is building us as the youth. We're kind of different from other children from our schools because of how we think during debates and how we come about judging certain situations. So if everyone can be involved, I do bet that South Africa can just go really, really far. We can really have a strong built youth, better than we have now. Yeah.